What's up, y'all? Anderson Emerald here, and back today to talk about Marileidy Paulino, as she just did a recent interview with Deporcuba TV. Apologies for the pronunciation. It's all in Spanish, but I was able to translate it, of course. And it's a really interesting interview where she's diving in to talk about the world record in the women's 400-meter dash and her goals to potentially break that record. Now, I thought it'd be good to kind of talk about it, considering I've been putting up some polls on the community tab talking about, world records that could potentially go down. And then, of course, I also recently did that video talking about how Marileidy Paulino probably had the greatest 400-meter season for a woman since the 1980s, right, with Marita Koch as well as Jarmila Koch. So this is actually pretty timely considering the conversation. Now, in this interview, she really dives into a lot of different topics where she's talking about her background, she's talking about growing up, switching from the 100 to the 200 to the 400, talks about her coach, her family, all those kind of things. But there's a few points that really do hit home to get towards this larger idea of potentially breaking the 400-meter world record and her goals towards that. Now, she did mention that in Budapest 2023, after she won that gold medal at the World Championships, she said that 2024, the Olympic year, would be a significantly better year. And now, after the Olympic Games, she said that 2025 would be an even more special year. So this really, in my opinion, speaks to her motivation overall just as an athlete, where she came onto the scene in 2021, and that's when she kind of, got the silver medal at the Olympic Games, was kind of the first introduction to the global scene, for a lot of us. And she's just been consistently getting better and better. So to hear her kind of speak about how after Budapest, she really had a lot of motivation and saying that 2024 was going to be special, and now after the Olympics, that 2025 is going to be even more special. I feel like that really gets into her mindset. It's hard to kind of, break through with Paulino because she only speaks Spanish. So us in the media or fans, we don't get to hear a lot from her. This really does speak to her motivation. I appreciate this quote, just her saying that 2025 is really going to be special. Now, building off that, she also shows a lot of love for her coach, Yacine Perez. Again, apologies for the pronunciation in Spanish, but she's trained with him since 2016, and he brought her from the 100-200, when she was a runner. Again, check out the video that I did on her breaking down, kind of her history and where she came from. But as a 100-200 runner, he helped her to switch over to the 400 and really honed in on her goals and really got her to be the athlete that she is today. Again, the very special athlete that has become the fourth fastest woman of all time in the 400. Now, on top of that, she also did speak about balancing everything that she's going to be doing next year. We know that she's signed on as a racer as part of Grand Slam track. She's also going to be doing the Diamond League. The World Championships are next year. But she mentioned that because she loves to race, she loves the competition, she loves the head-to-heads, she loves all of that, and getting on the track is really what motivates her, that she's not only going to be able to balance things very well, but going back to the original point that 2025 is going to be special, it seems like that motivation is there. Seeing her on the track as frequently as possible against the biggest names, that's really going to push her to be the best athlete that she can be. And I guess that does translate over into the world record talk. So she spoke about the world record in the context of her goals, where she said she started running for her family. That was like her initial reason as to why she got into track and field and why she got into running. Growing up in the Dominican Republic, she did not grow up wealthy. She did not grow up with money. So she wanted to, provide a better life for her family. So once she was able to actually, do things for her family and, whether that's financially, in whatever situation, then she said, I wanted to go for that world record. Now she's motivated to go for that world record. And here's a quote. She said, when you have a goal like that, it becomes a driving force that pushes you to give everything and more. Having that goal clearly means not only saying it, but also working 110% to achieve it. So again, she wants that world record in the women's 400-meter dash. She's clearly speaking that into the existence. And again, she moved up from the 100-200 up to the 400, and she kind of said that she was put into the 400 specifically to be able to achieve this world record. So she has some very strong motivations here. She always thought that the 400-meter world record could potentially be broken and that she has the potential to do it. So she's going to be working through 2025 to potentially achieve it. Maybe 2026, right? Of course, she didn't put a specific date, but the fact that she said that she is going to think of 2025 as a very special year indicates that something is really going to be on the horizon sooner than we think. Now, to put things in context, before I actually talk about some of the times and what I think, she also noted that in the Olympic final, she actually let up before the line. And I think we all saw this. And she does this in most of her races, but specifically in that Olympic final, because she ran 48.17, we saw that she let up before the line, could have run maybe 48.0 seconds, who knows? But she spoke to that as well, and she said that she actually does this in training, where she'll let up maybe 5 to 10 meters before the line. And she said that she really wants to change that in 2025. So overall, what does this mean? Now, in combination, the motivation, the idea that she says that she has a potential, the idea that she says that that world record, that 47.60 is possible, I really think that I don't know if she's going to break it next year, but I do think that Paulino has the ability to get a lot closer to it and then maybe drag some women along with her into the sub 48s or something like that. Especially, again, with the other context that she said that she's going to stop letting up before the line, right? 5 meters before the line. Now, let's look at the past seasons that she's had. In 2021, she actually ran 49.2 seconds to get the silver medal at the Olympic Games. Then she followed that up in 2022. She got the silver at the World Championships, but at the end of the season, she ran 48.9 seconds. Followed that up in 2023, and she was able to run 48.76 seconds to win gold at the Budapest World Championships. And then, of course, this year, we know that she got the gold medal at the Olympic Games with a 48.17 seconds. So, to me, at a minimum, assuming health, assuming she's in good form and all of that, I think she's definitely going to be able to run 47.9, right? You can even argue that she could have run it at the Olympic Games if maybe she didn't let up, maybe she went a little bit harder at the end, possibly. But I think she's very likely on pace to run 47.9 at a minimum. At a minimum, considering the progression that she's had, I know from 2023 with the 48.7 down to the 48.1 this year, that was a massive drop. I don't know if we're going to see another similar drop of 0.6 of a second, which is what it's actually going to take to get to the world record of, 47.6, right? She has to get down a whole 6-7 of a second to 47.5 seconds, 5.9 at least. But I do think 47.9 is very possible. Now, 47.8 is also possible, but this is where I think it gets into the realm of the competition that's necessary to push Paulino to that time, or to the other women to that time. In the Olympic Games, she had Sawi Nasser, I think, on the outside lane from her, so that was a little bit of a motivating factor and potentially led her to, get off the curve ahead and then really push towards the line to get to that 48.1. I think a similar situation occurred for 2019 at the Doha World Championships, where Sawi Nasser, she was on the inside of Shawnee Miller-Uibo, and that kind of pushed her to really go out hard, getting to that 48.1. Shawnee Miller-Uibo, she was on the outside of Nasser, but once we got into the home straight, she saw that Nasser was ahead and really pushed to get to that 48.3. I think that to be able to get, Paulino or any other athlete to a 47.8 or faster, potentially that world record, there's going to be a lot of competition necessary to really push each other. Now, like I've noted, some of the other women who are in the conversation, Paulino, I think she is on pace to run 47.9 at minimum next year, assuming all the things that she says are 100% true, where she is motivated, 2025 is going to be special, she's going to be running through the line, all of that, that's going to get her to at least 47.9. But then you have someone like Sawi Nasser. Sawi Nasser, she's run 48.14 seconds, which is number 3 all-time at this point. But this year, she also ran 48.5, getting back into the groove of things after she had the whereabouts suspension for a couple years. This is kind of her first real year back, kind of in form in a sense, her second time under the 49-second barrier. I think that Nasser is going to be one who could also push towards those 47s. The other woman, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, of course, we just saw her win her second Olympic gold medal in the 400-meter hurdles. I think that this year, obviously I have no confirmation, but I think that she's going to be running the 400. She tried it in 2023, but she got injured. I think she's going to want to attack it once again, and that we know that she's very much potentially a 47-second runner. Now, in my opinion, I think she's right now maybe closer to a 48 low, 48 mid, right? I can't 100% say that she's going to be a 47-second runner, but she has that potential. And again, I'm talking about all that competition kind of coming together at the perfect time in a race. Put Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in there. I think that we have a 47-second potential runner there. Let's not forget Nikisha Price. She also ran 48.5 seconds at the London Diamond League this year. Yes, she's young, she's growing, she didn't make the Olympic final in Paris, but she also has some strong potential. And then add on all the other women, right? Natalia Kazmarek, Rashida Adeleke, some other women who are also in that conversation to potentially push towards 48s, 47s, who knows? But again, I did find this interview really interesting from Marileidy Paulino. She became the first woman from the Dominican Republic to win a gold medal at the Olympic Games. She is kind of like I want to say like a quiet killer in the sense that, again, she only speaks Spanish, so we don't get a chance to really hear from her like we would from some of the other women, but she is one of, if not the most talented 400-meter runner since the 1980s. and maybe even more talented. You know, we're going to leave that alone. Check out the video that I did on that. But let me know what you think about Marileidy Paulino. Do you think that the world record is possible for Paulino if she does fix up a lot of these different things? Again, the motivation is there, but getting to be able to run through the line at the end of each of her races, that's going to shave off a few tenths? Or do you think some of the other women are going to be able to get to the world record before her, or at least push her and some of the others to that world record? 47.60 is no easy feat, but who knows? One day it's going to go down. World records are meant to be broken. Let me know what you think. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.